File item 24, that's SB 42 by Senator Umberg, presented by Assemblymember Lee. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 42 by Senator Umberg and others, enacting to the Political Reform Act of 1974.
Assemblymember Lee, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, tonight I present SB 42, which will empower voters and restore control to local governments by giving them the same option that charter cities currently have to enact public financing of campaigns. Currently, 5 charter cities offer campaign public financing options, and whenever the voters have had the chance to vote for it from their city, the voters have approved it overwhelmingly, including 74% of the voters in 2022 in the city of Oakland. Unfortunately, voters and elected officials in counties, districts, general law cities cannot currently be given the same opportunity to enact such policies under a provision enacted by Proposition 73 in 1988. SB 42 will enact local control to local governments by placing a measure on the November 2026 ballot to repeal the ban on campaign public financing, while adding basic requirements that public financing systems and candidates use public funding must follow to protect taxpayers and maximize benefit to voters. It would simply remove the ban and allow local governments or the state the option to enact laws that create programs for public financing of campaigns, while requiring basic protections for fairness, accountability, and where the money can come from. States are often called the laboratories of democracy. With this bill, cities and counties could be laboratories addressing the influence of big money in politics. Respectfully ask for aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Lee. Assemblymember Pellerin, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I rise in support of SB 42. Public financing programs can be powerful tools for strengthening our democracy. We've already seen success in places like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Berkeley, where these programs have helped empower voters and broaden participation. But here's the problem. Under a 37-year-old ballot measure, most of which has been struck down by the courts, public financing programs are banned everywhere except in charter cities. SB 42 fixes this. It doesn't create a single program. It simply gives voters the right to decide whether their city or county should be allowed to adopt one. The bill also has strong guardrails. Any future program would require candidates to meet strict qualifications before receiving public funds, and it would prohibit using those funds for things like legal defense fees, fines, or paying back personal campaign loans. Even if voters approve SB 42, no city or county is required to adopt public financing. Many likely won't, just as some charter cities have chosen not to, but every jurisdiction should have the same option if their voters want it. That's what fairness and local control look like. This bill is the GOAT, and I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Pellerin. Assemblymember Wicks, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I rise in support of SB 42. I think we all know how corrosive money can be in politics. We all know it. We all deal with it. Every elected official in America has to deal with it. And it is the worst part of this job. And people get compromised, and we see it all the time from all sides. I have 2 cities, Oakland and Berkeley, in my district that have public financing of campaigns, and what we see in those cities is more equity in terms of who gets to run for office and more genuine grassroots support. So I'm a strong supporter of this. I've seen it work in my cities, and this will allow the voters to decide. That is what we're talking about here. I think this is critical, particularly given the crisis our democracy is in right now. And with that, I stand proud to support this and humbly ask my colleagues to do the same.
Thank you, Assemblymember Wicks. Assemblymember Bennett, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If we're so certain that the voters will reject this, then why would we be worried about putting it on the ballot to confirm that? Things have changed dramatically since 1988. The sense that big money is corrupting politics is certainly becoming more pervasive. Let's find out if the voters have an opinion about this. Thank you very much. I encourage an aye vote, and I appreciate the author pushing on this.
Thank you, Assemblymember Bennett. Assemblymember Berman, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank my colleague from San Jose for floor managing this bill and being a principal co-author from the very beginning. I mentioned in the Elections Committee that every so often in my 9 years in the Assembly, I see somebody introduce a bill, and I think, dang, I wish I introduced that before they did. And this is one of those bills. The first time I ran for office, The local level was for Palo Alto City Council in 2012. And we had sort of an informal agreement that nobody would raise money in amounts greater than $500. And no one would spend more than $35,000 total. And it wasn't a law, but it was followed by all the candidates. 4 years later, 6 wealthy families in Palo Alto spent $20,000 each to try to influence the local city council elections in Palo Alto. And I know that that's happened in too many communities across California. We've just seen an explosion in huge amounts of money being spent on our campaigns, all the way up, you could argue, to the state legislature. And so, as my colleagues have mentioned, this is just giving voters the opportunity to decide whether or not we should then let local governments decide whether or not they want to have these systems. So it is, it's the epitome of local control. It's the epitome of respecting voters and whether or not voters want us to do this. And I think it's an area that is really ripe for exploration across California and looking at what other communities across the country have done for best practices. So I strongly encourage your aye vote on SB 42. Thanks.
Thank you, Assemblymember Berman. Seeing and hearing no further debate, Assemblymember Lee, do you wish to close?
I would like to thank my colleagues for being strong co-authors and supporters of this bill. Look, today in our election system, we take for granted public finance disclosures on advertising, voluntary expenditure limits that allow you to be on the booklet that's sent out. These are all newer inventions in our California democracy, but we are paving the day. So, colleagues, I would ask you to support this bill because you don't want to look back and say, back in my day, I missed the chance to reinvent and strengthen democracy for the rest of the country. And it is, honestly, if we look at all the cities that have passed and support public finance elections from New York, Seattle, Los Angeles, Berkeley, Oakland, and soon San Jose, the voters of today are saying they support grassroots-powered campaigns to represent their cities. Respectfully, in 1988, the electorate was very different, and I was negative several years old. So I was not even alive at that time. So we need to be with the people and say, back in my day, we supported public finance elections. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Lee. All debate having ceased, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 50, noes 18. The measure passes.